Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello, not much wrong with that.
No.
We'll come on to that in a minute. Welcome, please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to our channel. That would be good. You're having a tune?
I'm having a tune.
Okay, while he's tuning then, I'll introduce this week's show. We have done shows that involve using preamp pedals into the effects loop return of an amplifier. We've done that a couple of times. We first did it when Simon Jarrett came to see us. Oh no, we didn't. We were straight in the front for that one. We were, I think.
Okay, yes.
But Simon from Kingsley Amplifiers makes valve preamp pedals, and then we followed up with another show where we did preamp pedals into the effects loop return of an amp. And it's a subject we've touched on a few times, including in my pedal board build. What is causing that hum? And there is a live demonstration of the effectiveness of a ground lift switch on your second amplifier.
That's right.
On the back of the Fryette there, which we'll come to in a second, there's a ground lift switch. Pressed it, and the hum's gone away.
Yes.
How'd
They're
you guess?
away. Yeah. That doesn't mean that it's removing the ground from the pin. It does something else than that, just to, you know. We did a whole thing.
Yeah, moving on. Let's move on. So, as we said, the hum's gone. I'm happy. Simon Jarrett makes lovely valve preamp pedals that are designed that can be used to hit the effects loop return of an amp, which of course removes the preamp section of your amplifier. And when we've touched on that subject in the past, lots of people have commented and gone, well, hang on a minute. If you're removing the preamp section of your amp, why don't you just use a power amplifier? And couldn't you use something like that Fryette power station that you've used in videos before? Yes, you can, and we're going one step further.
We are indeed. We've also got a solid state power amp as well.
What is it? It's a Palmer
402.
Macht. Palmer's German, so they can use words like Macht. What is it?
Yeah, 402. So it's 200 watt a side.
Yep.
Class D. Solid state. And Palmer are known for things like cab simulators.
Yep.
They do some really, really clever stuff. They've put what they call, to help it sound like valves. So they've put some EQing and stuff on there, and yeah.
It annoys me so much when companies go, it sounds like valves. It's like, why don't you just say it doesn't sound like valves and be happy?
Yeah.
And go, it sounds like it does because it has its own thing.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry to everyone at Palmer.
I'm just reading the bump, dude.
It's like, just, you're setting yourself up for a fail, aren't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so lots of people like, and that was one of the questions that came up when we were talking about using preamps into effects loop returns. The most popular question after can't you just use a power amp was, can't you just use a solid state power amp? Because a lot of your tone generation is coming from these, potentially from a valve preamp pedal. So we're going to put that to the test a little bit. The cabs look different. There's a Marshall hand-wired 2061 style 2x12 cab and a Victory V212VH. Now, they're both 212s. They're both closed back. So they're different cabs. Here we go again. On my own. What a lovely guitar solo that is. So the cabs look different, but the point is that we're using the same speaker. So the microphone is on the same speaker, which is a Celestion G12H Anniversary. So it's the 30 watt version of that speaker.
Lovely.
The one with the gold sticker on the back that says 70th anniversary on it. So the cabs are different. They're both 2x12s, different manufacturers, but it's the same speaker.
And
so
a closed back environment. So yeah,
we're trying to keep the environment the same for the speaker cabs. In addition, we have a direct out going to the recording device, which means that we'll have the option of hearing some direct sounds as we go along have we spoken enough about that?
I think so. Right, so let's just get some sounds then. So the first sound we had, that was with the Constable. I can't say, sorry.
Constable.
The Constable. I get in trouble for it. My brother was a police officer. Anyway.
Yeah, does he ever get, I haven't had a evening Constable.
So the first sound that you heard was with the Constable, and that was being juiced with an OCD and a bit of delay and a bit of reverb on there for loveliness.
Yeah, just before we do any more, so the Constable is a full voltage valve preamp.
Mm-hmm.
The Orange Bax Bangeetar is a solid state preamp overdrive type thing.
Yeah.
Just no valves in it or anything. It just it's essentially a normal pedal but made into a preamp. And these are really interesting.
These are really, so the lovely guys at Mooer, when we went and visited them at NAMM, and they just released these, and these are little preamps, but in pedals. Each amplifier, instead of having one box that does 1,000 different amplifiers, they've gone, we'll make a little pedal for each one.
Let's run through them.
All right.
So they are digital modelling. So we've got valves, we've got solid state, transistor, and we've got digital modelling. There are, hang on. US Classic Deluxe based on a Fender Blues Deluxe. We've got Black Knight based on an Engel Blackmore. We've got UK Gold 900 based on a Marshall JCM 900. 5053 based on an EVH 5150. Gas Station based on a diesel 2-rock Vox. Koch Power Tone. Tone King Falcon, Mesa Boogie Mark III. So there's a truckload of them. There's 10, I think.
Yeah, and there's more to come as well. Anyway,
Don't know. This one is based on a Fender Blues Deluxe,
mm-hmm.
which is an interesting choice, given that that's a modern amp. This is based on a Vox AC30, in case you couldn't tell. And this one is based on a PV 5150, I think.
Right.
Which is not called that anymore. It's called a PV 6505.
Is it?
Eddie Van Halen owns the trademark to 5150.
Ah, right. Okay.
What number would you own if you could own a number?
That's a really good question. Does Steve I own 777?
I think God owns 777.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 668.
Okay.
The neighbour of the beast. That'd be.
Like it. I'll set them up, you knock them down.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is you're going to hear... We're just going to run through the preamps very quickly. Both amps are going to be on. Then we're going to decide which ones we like. And we're going to hear them through the valve power amp, solid state power amp, and some of them straight to desk.
Great.
So at the moment, everything's on. Let's just get some sounds going and see what we think.
Yeah, perfect.
Let's start with the Constable then. Are you on? Am I on? You're on.
Oh, man! That it does that thing that Marshalls do,
it is essentially the front end of a Plexi Marshall.
Right.
Is what it is. So volume 1 and 2 is exactly as you'd find high treble and normal
Okay.
on a Plexi,
Right.
like this. Because we've got one. Don't know if you can see this over here. On a Marshall Plexi, this is kind of interesting. There's 2 channels, 1 and 2, and you have normal, which is bassy, and you have high treble, which is very cutting and loads of gain, as you know. And this lead is just there because if you plug into one of these 2 channels, you only get either or. If you link them like this, which a lot of people refer to as jumping the channels, they're connected, and therefore you can use both channels and mix them as you like. That's the classic way to use a Plexi Marshall, and by Plexi Marshall we mean 50 watt, 100 watt super lead, but also kind of bring JTM 45s into that. I do anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's replicated here on the Constable, where you've got essentially your high treble channel and your normal channel, and you can choose to either have them mixed as they are now, so they're both on all the time.
So that's like a jumper, and the centre's like the jumper.
Yeah,
okay,
or you can choose a couple of modes of foot switching to have both of them on to 1, or switch between 1 and 2.
Okay, cool.
And in addition, obviously you've got your master volume, which you don't get on a Plexi Marshall, which is really handy, bass, middle, and treble, and a different bright cap
Oh, nice.
switch.
Oh, man. He does such good work.
So that was, you know, there's no, just to make the point again, there's no guitar amp here.
Yeah.
There's just power sections.
That's right.
Can I just hear that with the OCD hitting it again? Because that was quite nice. Really,
That thing is awesome.
the bright cap makes a massive difference.
Yeah, it really does.
And that becomes really important when you're feeding a preamp straight to a power section, because in any normal guitar amp which has got 2 sections, the preamp and the power section are well matched because they're in the same amp, and they obviously they're designed to go together. But if you're hitting any random power amp with any random pre, they might not necessarily be. So having that extra tonal flexibility, and you know, we quite often get asked, don't we, about why can't I just plug my regular overdrive straight into the effects return of my amp? And I think that's why.
Sure. It's not that you can't. You can, but you know, having a preamp, it gives you gives you the level that you need to hit the power amp input adequately, and it also gives you that control over the EQ. However, the power amps we have today do have a certain amount of EQ control.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Well, we'll come on to that in a sec.
Yep.
Seeing as we've just talked about it, can I hear the OCD straight into the, just without any preamp?
Yeah, sure. That's actually, I'm going to go here. That's it. So, this is the guitar straight into the power amps. Or the OCD.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but with that same sound.
It'll be way too loud, but go on. Go.
Okay, right. Again, with the Constable. That is crazy.
It's a good sound. Nice. Very nice.
Boy, oh boy. Okay.
So essentially all we're doing there is we're using a very nice overdrive pedal into a valve preamp into a bunch of power amps.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to split the power amps out in a second. Right, so let's go to Orange Bax Bangeetar, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So this is, Orange says in its in the manual and also in all the bump that it's not a normal guitar pedal. It's designed to be used as a normal guitar pedal if you want, or it's perfectly capable of being a preamp to hit the effects return
Right.
of an amplifier. It has
Okay.
enough juice.
Well, this has got a cab simulator out.
Then let's
let's
do that. So at the moment the output's coming out of the humdinger, which is our direct signal, which we'll use for the other pedals. The Orange has a direct cab sim out, so let's use that. I'm just thinking if that's going to cause any problems.
The Line 6 PA isn't on, is it?
No. Yeah. So now we've got a new ground loop hum.
Do you want me to plug into the humdinger so we don't get the hum?
Yes. Lot in it.
Yeah.
So single channel, and what you saw there is I just turned the gain up and down and the master volume up and down without changing any of the EQ, and it went from clean to crazy gaining.
Yeah. Parametric EQ in there as well.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll do a little bit of that in a sec. Right, what I'd like you to do, Dan, is just play a phrase, and in the post-production, I'm setting myself up for a fail here. I'm just going to switch between what you're hearing from the guitar amp cab mics and the room mic and the direct-to-desk sound from the cabinet simulated out. So let's take that with get some crunch in there.
Groovy.
Literally no idea what that's going to sound like, but yeah. Okay, let's get into this EQ then. Let's see what it does. So we recently looked at this. It's not in the box, which means it's elsewhere. The Orange 2-stroke.
Here it is.
Ah! We like it so much, it's made it onto the shelves.
This thing is awesome.
This was a real revelation.
Yeah,
when we
amazing.
looked at that. It's basically a boost pedal, but it has the parametric EQ. And so parametric EQs aren't difficult.
No.
But they seem to be something that Orange is enjoying at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bax Bangeetar's probably been out at least a couple of years, but it is massively powerful, as you heard.
I just thought you were going to say it's massive. Yeah, man, it's huge.
It's massively powerful, as you heard.
Yeah, amazing.
So you can, for anyone not familiar with a parametric EQ, you select the mid-frequency that you want to boost or cut, and then you boost it or cut it. Plus, you've got the Q control, which decides whether, the graphics explain it perfectly, whether it's a little frequency band or a wider one.
Yep.
And of course, that's really important with overdrive sounds, because it's all about how vocal your notes are.
Very impressive.
And again, let's just make the point, there's no guitar amp here.
Yeah.
That's a preamp, power amps. Very usable guitar sound.
Very usable. Very usable. Just have a play, because I want to have a mess around with this.
Okay, I'm going to put the Strat on, because I'm kind of... It's a more familiar guitar.
Right.
And it's more familiar to people who watch the show. So hopefully it will make a bit more sense.
So it's a parametric mid. So
Yeah.
you've got the Q, you've got the frequency, and you've got the cutter boost. Great, spot on.
And gain. Because
So gain's
gain with the
crazy.
Strat. Give me a lower mid boost, can you?
Blimey, alright. It's ace.
Solid state
Solid state.
preamp.
Mm-hmm.
Solid state power amp.
On one side,
On
yeah.
one side, valve power amp. Okay, that's all right. That's nothing rubbish about that so far.
No.
Okay, let's move on then. So we've done a valve pre.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a solid state transistor type pre.
Mm-hmm.
Digital modelling.
Digital modelling. Brace yourself. Right. So this is the Deluxe, the Fender Deluxe. Deluxe Reverb, like the new one?
No, it's a Blues Deluxe. Well, they say Blues Deluxe. I wonder if they actually mean a Deluxe Reverb. I guess they couldn't really call it a Deluxe Reverb because it doesn't have reverb in it. But
That's true.
the Blues Deluxe has reverb in it, so... Anyway, Blues Deluxe, for anyone who doesn't know, predecessor to the Hot Rod Deluxe, most popular professional valve amp in the world.
These three have a cabinet simulator built into them, which we
Yes.
can switch on. So there's...
I'm going to consult the Mooer Micro Preamp Owner's Manual.
Okay. Well, it's quite simple. I believe... you tell me if I've got this right.
Hang on.
Right. So
He gets a ding for yes and a honk for no.
each preamp has 2 channels. The blue is the clean channel.
Oh, hang on. LED button.
And then... So that's switching between the two.
Yeah.
But if I press and hold for a couple of seconds, it turns the cab sim on. So now the cab simulator.
Stop that. He was correct in every respect. Going to make a contentious point here and say nobody wants to hear the gain channel on a Blues Deluxe.
Thank you.
Really, it's all about the clean sound. Contentious point, I know. So we turn the cab sim off.
Turn cab sim off.
Let's have a look then. Go for it. What loop's the Constable in?
Constable is in loop 3.
So nowhere near the amount of
Level.
which may or may not be an issue depending on what you're running it into, to be aware of. Stick some reverb on then, Dan. Let's see what it sounds like. So that's everything, is it? Everything full up?
Nearly.
It's nice enough tone, but there's not much level there.
Right, now got a second channel then, and we'll turn the gain down. Just see what the second channel has. I've just noticed something very clever.
Sounds nice enough.
Yeah. the pots remember their position on the channel.
Yeah, so you can switch between them and not have to worry about what your settings were.
Exactly. It's as if each channel has its own set of controls.
Can you hit it with the OCD?
Yes.
Let's see what happens. And just OCD into the Constable a second just to see what we're getting. I'll turn it down a bit. Yeah, so yes, the Constable is a bit louder, but there's much more to it than that. It's more of everything, isn't it?
Yep.
Although it's got quite a pleasing tone, I think that it's kind of easy to play and it's quite friendly to play. So this is your territory then.
Right.
The Voxy one.
Okay. Nice.
It's not bad.
No, it's great.
It's definitely got that. It's definitely got the kind of EQ character, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a listen to the this other channel.
Hit that with the OCD. Great. Yeah. Again, it's not this.
And I'll just say again, so the Mooer is pretty much flat out.
Yeah,
And
on that clean channel.
The Constable is barely ticking over.
Yeah.
So, okay, but it's certainly, definitely a very similar kind of gain, and certainly a similar kind of EQ characteristic.
Yeah. So, you know, what we know about Voxes, they shelve the bottom end off at a certain frequency. The top end, everyone uses the word chime. It's just, you know, the top end frequencies are extended.
Certainly hearing that on the top strings of the telly, but probably more of it through the Constable.
Yeah.
So everyone's screaming, why don't you compare it to an AC30? Because we've got a lot of pedals to get to, and maybe that's for another day. Okay, so the 005, they call it the 5050.
Right.
So we're into
This is do your thing on this.
hot rodded
Do you play your
PV territory.
Yeah. Do your riff.
Keep going, just keep going. My riff. I played one bad Van Halen.
It's great though, because I can't do that. You have to show me how to do it. That's it. That's awesome.
No more. It's one of those high gain sounds that's kind of
Fun. It's a lot of fun.
Just out of interest, actually, part way through playing, could you switch the cab sim on? And
Sure.
when he switches the cab sim on, we'll do the post production so you hear the cab simulator. Cab simulator. I'm running out of breath today. What's that all about?
It's nice.
Yeah, who knows what the cab simulation direct sound was hearing. But, you know, high gain overdrive, why not? The EQ is pretty powerful by the looks of things.
Yeah. I love the concept of having just all different amplifiers instead of having one amp in a box controlled by MIDI and stuff. No.
Yeah.
Have them at your feet, kick them in.
Well, it's not bad, is it? I mean, there you've got a Fender amp, you know, a Fender amp simulation, a Vox amp simulation, and a high gain, you know, PD style amp simulation, and then of course there are all the others. They've even had the brass neck to do a 2-rock, the diesel.
So cool.
Why not? You know, actually, to be fair, I shouldn't be facetious because every other amp modelling company out there is doing all of that.
Yes.
So why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very clever.
So, what have we learned so far, Dan?
We've learned that I'm getting a Constable. That thing just sounds ridiculous. As we know, I've always been a fan of Simon's stuff, but this is the first time I actually sat down with a Constable and heard it. So really impressed. But this thing here is crazy good.
It's really good.
The EQ in that
Yeah.
And that's following on from the two-stroke.
Yeah.
You know, same sort of thing. We know that these pedals here, they don't have the same output. Now, I would be, you know, they're called, you know, preamp pedals. And they work as preamps. They just don't have the same amount of drive.
So actually,
output.
you'll probably be just as well plugging it straight into the front of your amp.
If you have enough clean headroom, absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't know this, and I'm completely. I wonder if Mooer has had that in mind while.
But don't forget, Mooer have just done that 20-watt power amp.
Oh yeah, it was a prototype when we saw it. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a prototype. I'm just going to double check here. Output, connect to a power amp or your amplifier's effects return. Yeah, okay. Okay, so no, Mooer is actually saying that they are designed specifically to hit an effects return.
Right, there you go.
Yep. But what I was wondering is if there was some internal switch which is a kind of input gain option, output gain option, but there isn't, I don't think. So yeah, okay. Not as much headroom or available output as the Bax Bangeetar or the Constable, but certainly some powerful EQ and tone amp tonalities. That feels like an amp to me.
Absolutely.
That feels somewhere in between an amp and a pedal.
Yep. I want to hear that straight in the front of an amplifier.
They feel very much like pedals.
Yeah.
So that's where we are now. Would you agree? Or
I would agree entirely. I think the Mooer stuff, I mean, it sounds, it's great. It's fun. It's those pedals that are easy to play.
Yeah.
You know. And that's great.
God, we're going to tread on some terribly thin ice here, but I've always said about digital modelling, to me, it always sounds like the sound of a recorded guitar.
That's absolutely right.
Whereas, like a really fire-breathing, I don't want to use terms like proper or real, but a valve amplifier at volume doesn't sound like a recorded guitar.
Sure.
Sounds like a loud amplifier at volume.
Yep.
Modelling amps to me always sound a bit like recorded guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're getting a bit there, which is very satisfying sound to listen to.
So,
especially if you're hearing it out of computer monitors.
Yep. If you're, okay, I'm at home, I'm practicing, I've, little practice amp plugged in, but I want to have more of a character of a specific amplifier.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
If I'm learning some Van Halen tunes, for example, and I'm really finding it hard to get into it, trying to, do it with an overdrive pedal and a little amplifier, I think it's, fantastic. Dude, if I was a 15-year-old in my bedroom, jamming out, getting ready for my first gig, one of those into my PV, awesome.
No generalizations there whatsoever.
No, but seriously.
Yeah.
I would not be able to get that sound out of just the gain channel on my PV.
No.
So that's going to give me other options. I think that's great.
Yeah. You might have a bit of software that does it pretty well if you're 15.
Yeah, but again...
Oh, thin ice now, thin ice. Right, let's move on. So, okay, we've listened to a valve preamp pedal, some digital modelling preamp pedals, and a transistor solid state preamp pedal, all hitting the effects loop returns of these power sections.
Yes.
The inputs of the power sections. And depending on how clever we can be, you will have heard some of the direct sounds as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a listen to the difference between the valve power amp and the solid state preamp. I'm going to put your guitar down. I borrowed Dan's guitars to do various things, and I don't feel weird at all about playing them when you're not around. But when you're in the room, playing someone else's guitar it's like
finish that sentence.
No, it's there's something vaguely not right about it.
So Constable into the power station, then I'm going to switch, and it's going to go straight into the Palmer. So.
Does the Palmer sound a little bit quieter to you than the... Do I need to turn it up just a tiny bit?
Yep.
Keep going. Okay, shall we add some OCD to the mix?
Let's do that. It's so interesting. I don't know about you, but it's the same. Right, transistor amplifiers for me, they sound great, especially the clean tones. But there's this almost a flatness to the sound.
100% is that's what I'm hearing, and I guess there'll probably be a million comments now going, "Oh, you need to mic the same speaker," and we've done everything completely randomly today. So it could easily have been the other way around.
Right.
And I don't think we've played both of those cabs a lot, and they both sound exceptional whenever we use them. So I don't think it's anything to do with speakers.
No.
And once again, it will be really interesting to hear what the mics in the room and the mics here are hearing, whether it is as pronounced as we're hearing it sat here. Can we? Let's just. I'm going to get a bit of a crunchier sound going on the Constable a sec. Can you give me a bit of reverb?
Same with that.
It's different. I don't want to say too much more, but it's definitely different, and I know which one I prefer by some margin in terms of that kind of sound. In terms of EQ, I actually pushed the high on the Palmer a little bit because it felt like it was a bit flat in the highs.
Yep.
Whereas the
presence and depth in this mode aren't being used. It switches on the left.
Yeah.
So we've got deep set on the power station.
Yeah.
And a little bit of top. It's called edge. Just a little bit more. Sorry, on the bright switch.
Yeah. Let's just put that down to flat, just to keep it the same. Different.
Yeah.
Different. Okay, let's move on. Let's hear the Bax Bangeetar in those two scenarios. Do you wanna play a bit for this one?
Sure.
Yep, and delay.
Delay.
Definitely different.
Definitely different.
Obviously I dialed in a cleaner sound, got some delays and reverbs going on there.
For the in-between sounds, I'm not really getting this, but for the big muff style fuzz, just amazing.
Heavy overdrives,
Yeah.
very, very good. And with that really tweakable,
that mid-range thing, you get that.
makes all the difference. But the Constable is just the fidelity and the hugeness of it, and the amp-like character of it is pretty striking.
I want to play. I want to play.
And kind of, interesting into the two different power stages. I'm not going to draw any conclusions because, my ears, after however so many years, I'm instantly drawn to that.
Yeah,
that's got a mid-range character that I'm going to have to do some work on.
Mm-hmm.
For the kind of sounds that I like, but blooming interesting to hear it all A-B.
Just fascinating.
Yeah,
fascinating.
And I guess adds a little bit more weight to this whole thing that we've been talking about over the last year or so, about why not? Don't get rid of your amp because amps are brilliant, but amps are difficult because they're heavy.
Mm.
It's hard to turn them up.
Mm-hmm.
For all the reasons that you might need a more, you might, if you're gigging or touring or flying or whatever and you've got to rent gear, you might not get the amp you kind of want. So why not at least think about being able to do everything from the board
and going straight into the effects loop return. If you are
or a small, I'm pretty sure that more products like the Power Station will hit the market.
Yeah, and the Power, that's a specific product. Yes, it's a fantastic 50-watt valve power amplifier, amazing. But it's also designed.
Yeah, it's an attenuator.
It's attenuated as well. It's just
yeah.
it's. I mean, it for me. I'm getting another one of those, and stereo rig. Why not? And J20 in the middle, just awesome.
Yeah. Dan's practical amp rig Mark II.
Well, two of those still smaller than an amplifier.
Well, two of those. Compact 212 cab, wired stereo, why not?
Man alive.
Why not? Okay.
Actually, that's a great idea.
It's
brilliant.
It's all in there.
Okay.
It's all in there.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I want to say a massive thank you to all of our patrons on Patreon.
Crowdfunding for creatives.
A massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe.
Anderson's Music.
America.
Riff City Guitar.
Hey, Joe. And in Australia.
Matt at Pedal Empire.
Yeah, brilliant.
Hey, Matt. That doesn't work. Cool, yeah.
Very good. Also, massive thank you to you guys who've gone on to thatpedalshowstore.com and purchased a garment, a
Or a bag or a mug or a hat or
a D&M drive.
a D&M drive, yeah, maybe. If they've all run out by the time this video comes along, you can get them at Anderton's, you can get them at Rift City, and you can get them from Keeley and hopefully from Matt at Pedal Empire at some point as well. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good.
Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next week.
Cheerio.
Bye.